Let's work with that textbook. Doing sports, playing video games, watching TV, surfing the internet, reading, communicating with friends. It is very common today to see children as young as two playing games on tablets or smartphones. It is my belief that this has some negative effects, and I completely support the idea that parents should set limits on screen time for very young children. It is important that young children develop social skills by playing with other children. They cannot do this while they are playing with apps on their own. I totally agree with the idea that the colors and music of most games are attractive, but young children need to learn to develop real relationships with people. I do not accept the argument that children can set limits themselves. At this age, young children have no idea how playing games may affect them later. In my opinion, only a child's parents, with their experience of life, can decide how much screen time is appropriate. Of course, parents should discuss the situation with their child. I am not in favor of setting limits when the child does not understand the reasons. Parents should also make sure that their child does activities with other children, such as visiting playgrounds. What did you learn out of school? We learn things at school, of course, but we also gain a whole load of skills beyond the school gates. What skill or ability did you acquire from friends or family? Was it easy to learn? How old were you when you first learned it? Tell us your stories. Dear Molly, it was great to hear from you. I'm so glad you had a good birthday. I loved the photos. Anyway, you asked for my advice on choosing a language school in the UK. I agree that it'll really help your English and you'll have great fun too. One thing you should do is think about where in the UK you want to go to. Why not make a list of all the things you'd like to see and do there? You might find that it'll help you choose between, say, London and Edinburgh. If I were you, I'd do a lot of research. Make sure you check how much they charge, as some schools are more expensive than others. One idea is to contact some local language schools and ask them about costs. Finally, my advice is to not make the decision on your own. Ask your English teacher and your parents to help you, and see what other students say online about their experiences. I hope these ideas help. I have to go because dinner is ready. Right soon. Lots of love, Hannah. A future YouTube star. One of the most popular new YouTube channels is Funny Girl. In it, Abigail, also known as Funny Girl 03, tells jokes and talks about her life. It's really taken off recently, and I decided to take a look. Abigail produces one new video every day. She's great at making the videos, and they have a professional look. Each one lasts for about 5 minutes, so they aren't too long. They sound quality is always sorry. The sound quality is always excellent, and you really get a good idea of Abigail's personality from the videos. It's true that some of the jokes she tells are old ones, but she makes them funny by the way she tells them. She talks about subjects that young people find interesting, and she always has an unusual point of view. She describes things that happen to her in a very funny way. Admittedly, she sometimes refers to her close friends, but she does always explain who they are so you can understand what she's talking about. I would definitely recommend this channel to any teenager who likes comedy. I'm sure Funny Girl is going to be very successful. 12 exciting, interesting, or just plain weird things to do in England's capital city. Have you ever wanted to be James Bond? Well, there is no better way to feel like a top spy than to travel down London's famous river, the Thames, in a speedboat. Maybe you've been dying to see London from the air and you want to pretend you're a famous celebrity. If so, then a London helicopter tour could be exactly what you need. Just make sure you or your parents can pay for it first. For a slightly gentler and more affordable way to get great views of London, why not ride a cable car across the Thames on the Emirates airline? If speed and height are not your thing, what about learning how to make your own fashion and jewelry at the V&A Create Young People's Events at the Victoria and Albert Museum? The V&A has been described as the world's greatest museum of art and design. Crime lovers, never mind the TV. Watch a real-life court drama unfold at the Old Bailey, a world-famous criminal court where trials are open to the public. Dating from medieval times, the court has appeared in hundreds of novels, films, and programs. You've been to the Science Museum, where hopefully you experienced the 4D cinema impact of a Saturn V rocket launch. You've done the British Museum, so now you're looking for something with even more of the wow factor. Here it is. Feel the incredible force of an earthquake, simulated of course, at the Natural History Museum. If you're a football fan, tread in the footsteps of football legends at Wembley Stadium, Stamford Bridge, Chelsea, of the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal. Be part of the table tennis craze at Bounce of Farrington before 6 p.m. and one of the free ping pong tables spread around the capital. You'll need your own bats and ball though. Discover what punishment was like in the old days by a visit to the torturer at the London dungeon. See some of the very scary tools he used. Warning, this attraction is not for the squeamish. Do you like puzzles? Find your way out of the famous garden maze at Hampton Court Palace. And once you've managed to get out of the maze, head over to Clue Quest at Hit Hunt for another challenge, getting out of a locked room. Are you a Sherlock Holmes or Doctor Who fan? If so, take the Sherlock Holmes tour or Doctor Who tour of London with Brit Movie Tours. The Unicorn Theatre near Tower Bridge has been putting on shows specifically for teenagers for decades, so they know what they're doing. Don't miss one of their fantastic productions while you're in town. Many big cities like Dubai and New York have skyscrapers. There are problems with living and working in such tall buildings, but I believe on the whole they are wonderful things. Skyscrapers do have disadvantages. Firstly, being so high up can make life difficult. For instance, you can just open the window wide on a hot day if you're on the 19th floor. Secondly, they rely on technology and electricity, which is not ideal if there's a problem such as power cut and the lifts stop working. Thirdly, they can be dangerous. For example, if there's a fire, it might be difficult to escape. However, I believe that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Skyscrapers are becoming safer and stronger each year. They're also beautiful, and some are amazing works of art. The new World Trade Center is an example of this. More importantly, they allow a large number of people to live and work in the same building space. To sum up, I hope we continue to build bigger, better, and safer skyscrapers. They can solve the problem of too little space in cities and are beautiful at the same time. Photography made easy. 12-week photography course for beginners. Classes are limited to 5 people, so you really get the chance to practice and learn. Course fees: 99 pounds. For more information, contact info at photogenius.com. Learn digital drawing. Digital drawing course, only 120 pounds. The course lasts 8 weeks and is basic introduction to using your computer to create amazing drawings and pictures. In groups of around 20, you'll learn to produce digital images of people, buildings, and landscapes. Further details: learn learn to digit draw at artmaster.com. Tick your ambitions and make a note of why. Get a qualification, get a good job, buy a house, become famous, get married, have children, travel the world. Is your free time really free? Do you have the freedom to do what you want in your free time? Many young people don't. That's because their parents want to control all their time. If this sounds familiar, here are a few suggestions for sorting out the situation. First of all, don't blame your parents because they want the best for you. They sometimes put you under pressure regarding school and homework, which can affect your free time. Instead of blaming them, show them that you're doing well at school and that playing video games now and then won't affect your marks. Secondly, show your parents how motivated you are. If you want to stop doing an activity they have chosen, show them how much you really want to do another activity of your own choice instead. They might change their minds if they can see how serious you are. Finally, remind your parents that you need to be responsible for planning your own time to some extent. The reason for this is that in the future you will have to do that without their help. Explain that you need to start learning new skills like that now. Good luck. A common saying. You know what it's like. You're hungry and you grab some crisps, or you're rushing off to school and haven't got time for breakfast. Have you ever heard the saying, you are what you eat? It means that in order to be fit and healthy, you need to eat good food. I'm sure it's the kind of thing you've heard your parents say. Although it's a common saying, I've never stopped to think about what it actually means. Apparently, 9 out of 10 of us eat junk food on a daily basis, and we've probably all had the short-term sugar rush after shaking on chocolate. But there's a real link between what we eat and how we function. Think about smart snacking. Eating healthy snacks such as fresh fruit and popcorn instead of sweets to give us more energy and improve our concentration, which actually helps us study and perform better. Do you know what the strangest thing is? I've started paying attention to what I eat, and I think it's having a positive effect on my energy levels and my ability to study more effectively. Maybe I really am what I eat. In the wrong place. I had been waiting for my friend for 10 minutes when I suddenly realized that I was in the wrong place. The train was slowly leaving the platform and people were walking past me. I searched, but there was no sign of Emily. I found a guard to ask for assistance. The train for Glasgow, he said. It arrives at West Station in... He looked at his watch. 12 minutes. You'll have to be quick. I ran out of the station as fast as I could. I had passed West Station earlier, so I knew how far it was. I looked at my phone. No battery. I had no way of communicating with Emily. I had to make it or she would think I'd forgotten about her. I ran along the pavement, shouting sorry and excuse me at the people I passed. I was getting tired, but I knew I had to keep on going. Finally, I saw West Station ahead. I got there just as the train from Glasgow arrived. Emily got off, the train and hugged me. She couldn't understand why I was laughing. Hi, Alicia. Thanks for your email. It was lovely to hear from you. I'm glad you're settling in well at your new school. So, your project on mountains sounds interesting. As you know, I live in the big city and I've been to a few mountains. You asked me to pick an interesting one. I choose Shodan, which is 2 hour drive from where I live. We went there on a school trip recently. It's great because it's really high, but there's a railway up to the top so you don't have to spend hours walking and climbing to get there. The view is stunning. You can see for miles. They have lots of telescopes up there so you can see things far away in great detail. The people and cars at the bottom look really tiny. There are loads of things you can do there, including horse riding, rock climbing, mountain biking, and even whitewater rafting. We didn't do anything like that on our trip, maybe next time. I hope that's useful for you. Let me know how your project goes. Bye for now, Bex. Fraser was an excellent accountant, but last year he was made redundant. There weren't many vacancies and he was unemployed for 6 months. Eventually, he found a part-time job in a factory working night shifts. His weekly wages were quite low, but it was a temporary job. He sometimes worked extra hours to earn more, but all the overtime made him tired and one night he fell asleep at work. His boss found out and gave him the sack. Fraser went to the park and sat down and cried. Soon, a man stopped and asked him what the problem was. Fraser explained he had just lost his job. The man told Fraser that he had just started a new company and was looking for someone to help him with the finances. They met the next day and the man offered Fraser a full-time job with a permanent contract. Fraser was delighted and accepted the job straight away. The man looked surprised and asked Fraser, "Are you sure you're an accountant?" "Why do you ask?" replied Fraser nervously. "Well," he laughed, "your job is looking after money, and I haven't even told you your annual salary yet." Dear Mr. Langton, I'm writing with regard to your request for suggestions about local people with particularly interesting skills or abilities who you could invite to give a lecture at school. I believe I know the perfect person. Lucas Martin, who lives in the town, is a professional magician. He performs regularly at parties and events and is an extremely interesting and friendly person. I know him well because we used to live next door to him. He would often show me tricks and he even taught me a few. I have little doubt that if you invited him, he would be happy to give a lecture. He would probably perform some tricks and tell some fascinating stories about how he became a magician and the people he has met in his career. Please let me know if you would like to give me his contact details or if you would prefer me to contact him first myself. I look forward to hearing from you. Yours sincerely, Deborah Clarkson. What are people enjoying about eating in these places? How difficult might it be to play well in these situations?